Ruben Amorim has made his Manchester United transfer plans very clear to the board. I don't want small stopgap signings. I want big Manchester United moves. I want players here for the long term. Joshua Zirkzee to Roma, an agreement has been reached between the two. An absolutely fantastic source from the Netherlands has pretty much confirmed the agreement has also been reached. Personal terms agreed. Will United let Zirkzee go to Roma? There's a feeling that if we can get Semenyo, we can release Joshua Zirkzee, because talking of Semenyo, has his decision been made? Has he picked his next club? Because yesterday it was said that Semenyo was going to make his decision. And Man United are having a big call with Semenyo. Is he going to communicate his decision? Because if United get the green light from Semenyo, they will go for him. And there's confidence inside United that they can beat City to his signature. We're going to talk about Ruben Neves, the latest on him. Ben Jacobs has given some updates on our pursuit of Ruben Neves. We're also going to talk about the future of Mainoo, who wants to go to Napoli, but that could be changed because of Bruno's injury. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute roundup. If you're new to the channel, every single day on the channel, I do a 10-minute Manchester United news and transfer news roundup where you get all the latest Manchester United news rounded up in 10 minutes. Let's dive into it. And I was just refreshing my feed, and apparently 1 minute ago, Ben Jacobs has said we're frontrunners for Semenyo. But we're not going to start with the Semenyo news. We're going to start with the Zirkzee news and the other news because there's been an official agreement. And then we're going to talk about the big updates coming in on Semenyo. So, Ruben Amorim doesn't want short-term signings. Even if he has to suffer with injuries, he wants players for the present and future. That is the mission. In the past, we brought in a lot of short-term signings. Weghorst, Digallo, Sabitzer. When there's been the Eriksen injury, when Ronaldo left, we've often done short-term signings, which, to be honest, don't really do us any favours. Every now and then they work out. Like, to be fair, Digallo was all right, to be honest, when he first joined. Ruben Amorim doesn't want Conor Gallagher coming in for the sake of bringing Conor Gallagher in. Do you know what I mean? He only wants signings if he feels that they're going to be here in the long term, not someone that's going to come in for a couple of months while someone's injured, then we never play them again. I don't think he's against a short-term loan for depth, but he's not going to want to do permanent deals. And that's the thing with midfield. We all know we need a midfielder more than anything. We all know we need a midfielder more than Semenyo, but we can't get Anderson, Baleba or Wharton in January. We can only get them in the summer. So United like, well, we'll go get them in the summer. Maybe there's no point getting them in January because that might impact our budget and we can't get them in the summer. Like, Man United don't want to miss out on their main targets because they've spent money on someone they didn't really want in January. Ruben Amorim's made it clear these are the signings he wants. If you can get any of them in January, go for it. Even though Semenyo ideally we wanted in the summer and Anderson we'd ideally want in January, it's probably going to be the other way around. Now, United could have some funds coming in. It was first said that Roma have reached an agreement with Joshua Zirkzee in negotiations with Man United for a loan with an option to buy progressing well. This was what was first said, but then this is one of the best sources of information in the Netherlands. This is like the David Ornstein of Dutch media has pretty much come out and said that AS Roma is making a serious push for Zirkzee. The forward is eager to join. They also said an agreement with Roma is no longer an issue. Zirkzee believes that Gasperini can revive his World Cup chances. It's now basically being confirmed that Chelsea have agreed terms with Roma. Not Chelsea. Did I say Chelsea? Zirkzee. Zirkzee has agreed terms with Roma. That's basically been confirmed that Zirkzee has reached an agreement with Roma. Zirkzee has agreed terms with Roma. The reason I was saying Chelsea is because Ben Jacobs has said that Chelsea might make a late move for Semenyo. Zirkzee has agreed terms with Roma, and that has been confirmed by a top source of information. However, will United let him go? United is set to delay any decision on Zirkzee's future until later in the January window, with Amorim's squad stretched due to injuries and AFCON. So that's what's been said. I think the Zirkzee will be allowed to go if Roma give us a loan with an obligation to buy the fee that we like, but maybe a little in a couple of weeks, maybe not right away. But Semenyo, if we're going to get Semenyo, we have to trigger his release clause by January 10th. I think if we get Semenyo sorted January 1st, I think we'd let Zirkzee go January 2nd, to be honest. I think Zirkzee could go, which is a shame because I do like Zirkzee and I think there's a player in there, but he doesn't suit what we're trying to do. And Semenyo does. If you look at what Amorim wants, Semenyo has that, Zirkzee doesn't. But I think Zirkzee is a very talented player that will have a good career regardless of it not being at United. So let's talk about Semenyo. Because has Semenyo just made his decision? Because it was said yesterday that Semenyo could make a decision on his future today. There's a feeling that Semenyo is going to make his decision in the next sort of 24 hours and communicate to clubs. Semenyo may have made his mind up. Semenyo might see that City have Marmoush, Savinho and Doku as their left-wing options. What happened to Calvin Phillips? The fact that Marmoush can't get any minutes for City and attack, he might think, oh, maybe I should go to Manchester United. The Manchester clubs are leading the race for Semenyo. You know, we're a bigger club. We've got a better history, but City's more safe. But Pep Guardiola's leaving City. Liverpool are also interested in Semenyo, and with Isak's injury, could push for Semenyo. Chelsea have some interest in Semenyo, but they've got a million wingers. It will be interesting. But Semenyo could have already made his decision. Semenyo probably knows what he wants to do, but he's thinking, if I have both Man United and Man City, Semenyo's probably thinking, if I have both Man United and Man City, that can get Man City to have their offer and Man United to have their offer. If he told Man United, I only want you, and told everyone no, our wage offer could be lower. Because we know we've got to compete with Man City's contract offer, we're going to give him a higher wage. City are going to give him a higher wage to try and get him. So it's quite smart from Semenyo and his agent to put the Manchester clubs together, because that means both of them are going to up their wage offer because they want to be the one with the best offer. So Semenyo could make a decision on his future today. It's a Manchester battle for Semenyo. United are pushing to sign him, and contacts with his camp took place today, even with City. Both clubs are pushing and presenting their project. Romano said this yesterday. Both clubs are pushing, both clubs are having calls, both clubs are presenting his project. He could make a decision today, because yesterday was when both clubs presented their project. Both clubs presented their project to Semenyo yesterday. He could make his decision today. He may wait and see what Chelsea do, what Liverpool do. He may be waiting for Arsenal, because he is an Arsenal fan. You never know. But the Manchester clubs are leading the race. Both United and City are waiting for Semenyo to indicate his preference before making contact with Bournemouth. We're basically now waiting for Semenyo. We know that we're going to trigger the release clause if he says yes. We know that we want Semenyo, but we're now just waiting. Chelsea have just made an inquiry. United and City are leading the race. Liverpool definitely have some interest, but we're literally waiting on Semenyo to make a decision. I have no idea where he's going to go, guys. I wish I could say I think he's going to go to United. I have no idea, but Ruben Amorim showed the most interest in him in the summer. We showed Semenyo interest in the summer that City didn't. Chelsea didn't. Ruben Amorim had lunch with Semenyo in the summer. Dinner with Semenyo in the summer. So maybe Ruben Amorim can bring Semenyo to Old Trafford. Let's talk about Neves. United are not ruling out adding a midfielder this January. They have discussed Ruben Neves internally, but they are yet to make any formal approach to the player Al Hilal. So we know that United want to bring in a midfielder. Amorim doesn't want someone in for the sake of it, but Neves is Portuguese. Amorim would probably like him. I was joking, but actually I'm not joking. But with Bruno's injury, Mainoo unhappy, Agati not good enough. United are looking at bringing in a midfielder in January if they can bring in someone that they like. Conor Gallagher, Neves and João Gomez are the three that's been discussed. United are open to Gallagher, but only on loan. They don't want to pay 30 million for him. Ruben Neves, if we can get him for 15 million and he agrees to a decent wage, United would be open to Ruben Neves as sort of another option. But obviously we know that we want Elliot Anderson. We can't get him till summer. We know that we want Baleba. We probably can't get him till summer. But United are thinking, well, if we can bring another midfielder in that's a good opportunity or a good option, then we probably need to act on that. Oh, and last but not least, what is the latest on Kobbie Mainoo? Kobbie Mainoo is keen on a loan to Napoli to get more game time ahead of the 2026 World Cup, with his inclusion in the squad currently in doubt. I think unless Kobbie does a madness at Napoli and plays every minute of every game and does madness, I don't think he's getting in that England squad, sadly. However, United don't want to sell or loan. That stance is unlikely to change unless a new midfield signing arrives. The problem is now, Bruno is injured. Unless we bring in a new midfielder, he won't be able to go. And apparently Man United would rather loan out a guy because they want to sell a guy in the summer than Mainoo. But United have got to be careful with Mainoo. It's really annoying, though, because Mainoo just picked up an injury this week and he would have started versus Villa and he would have started versus Newcastle. And Ruben Amorim said that Mainoo is out of the Newcastle game. Some people think Ruben Amorim's lying and that Mainoo isn't injured and they're kicking him out. But Ruben Amorim was very honest about why Rashford wasn't playing. And he was very honest about that situation. So I think if he was kicking Mainoo out, he would be honest about it. I don't think they would say that Mainoo was injured, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Man United and Newcastle have both shortlisted Ruben Neves, who could be available for 15 to 20 million pounds, which will be interesting. But listen, people, thank you so much for watching today's video. This was your 10-minute news roundup. Hopefully Chelsea don't get greedy and go in for Semenyo. They've just brought Garnacho, so it's quite funny that they want Semenyo 6 months later. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.